Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
We have got a big game in the Big Ten. My name is Jason Hammer. I do the Hammer and Nigel show. Rob Kendall is a #1 rated radio host in his own right with the Kendall and Casey show. And Rob, we got some big games this weekend. We've got the premier matchup, I think, in the Big Ten. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit, but let's do a victory lap.
Woo!
You and I were big, hairy American winning machines this past weekend.
Yeah, that's my turn to talk, isn't it? I'm now 17-13 on the year for college football. I know the Thursday show will brag about our NFL winnings as well. That was even better. 3-2 on the weekend. Like I said, 4 games over 500 for the year. And you, my friend, were on the win train as well.
So I'm on an 11-4 run right now. We've hit 5 out of the last 6 degenerate specials, which I really like to hang my hat on that one.
That's your pride and joy.
You can't have a show called The Degenerates Next Door and constantly butcher the Degenerate Special. Right. So we've been doing well. Everybody on this show is rocking a winning record. Rob has a winning record. I have a winning record. Our professional handicapper, David Stephanoff of followneverfade.com. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit. He's got a winning record. So, Rob, let's dive into it here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a big one. Ohio State, the Ohio State University. They are on the road at Oregon. The Buckeyes are a 3.5-point road favorite. The over-under is around 52.5.
Yeah, so I watched most of that Ohio State game last week. I hit that bet with them covering the 19.5 against Iowa at home. Here's the thing I learned about Ohio State from seeing them play a team in Iowa with great defense and absolutely no offense. The Ohio State defense, pretty good. I mean, I know Iowa is suspect on offense, but that Ohio State defense, they can get at it. Statistically, going into last week, and it didn't hurt them, they were the best defense in the country. People say, oh, the Ohio State offense this and offense that. They can stop some dudes. And like I said, Iowa definitely not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. What I wasn't super impressed with, though, is the Ohio State offense. Granted, Iowa, top 20 defense in the country, and it took Ohio State, though, a long time to wear down that Iowa defense. They had the ball over and over and over again because of that Ohio State defense. Iowa couldn't move the ball, and it was only 7-0 at half. I mean, you were sweating bullets at that 19.5 spread going into halftime. Ohio State has gone under in 5 of the last 6 games. Oregon has gone under in 6 of their last 8. Ohio State's gone under in 5 of their last 6 Saturday games. Oregon under in 6 of their last 8. Both teams have been under 52.5 in their last 2 games. They can both score, but I'm going under 52.5.
Under 52.5. Big game in the Big Ten. And what I love about this game, it's in the evening. So we got a full day of debauchery to just get ready for the premier game on the slate.
Yeah, I'm strategic about this. I like to go late, just like I like to go Sunday and Monday on my NFL picks. That way it prolongs my not having to be disappointed in myself. If I have late games, I can enjoy the whole day with anticipation and then let myself down late in the evening.
And worst case scenario, you look for the Hawaii game.
That's right.
The gambler's best friend is the late night Hawaii game where you can win it all back, baby. It's the redemption game. All right, so you are going under on Ohio State and Oregon. I'm turning my attention to Texas and Oklahoma. The Red River Shootout down in Dallas, the State Fair game. And before we talk about the game itself, Texas is a 14.5-point favorite in this game. The over-under set at 49. Can we talk about how this is the Red River Shootout and not the Red River Rivalry?
Is that some woke thing they're doing now? Is that shootout bad?
It was the shootout until the 100th meeting in 2005, and then SBC Communications bought the rights to the game, and they did not want to promote gun violence, so they had a big marketing push to call it the Red River rivalry.
This is like when the Washington Bullets became the Washington Wizards.
Right. Like in their mind, somebody had a gun up to somebody's head making a cocaine deal. Well, I was going to shoot this guy, but the basketball team changed their mind. And it's Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah. You can get a gun at the liquor store. It's so ridiculous here. So I'm going to call it the Red River Shootout. Bluto, your thoughts?
I'm not gonna take this! Warner, he's a dead man! Marmalade, dead!
SBC Communications that changed the name, dead. Red River Shootout. That's what we're going with. And give me the Longhorns. I'm going to lay 14.5 here. I believe Quinn Ewers is scheduled to be back. But even if he's not, the backup quarterback at Texas could probably start on 99.5% of teams in college football right now. Oklahoma has a pretty good defense, but they got nothing at quarterback. Yeah. It's a mess at quarterback. I think they hang around. The energy, the rivalry, the emotion, it'll be close for a little while, but Texas just has too much offensively. I'm going to ride with the Longhorns here. I'm going to lay 14.5. Everybody wins on this show. I'm rolling, Rob Kendall is rolling, and our professional handicapper, David Stephanoff of followneverfade.com. He's also rolling. David, what's up, my man? How are you?
Hello, Hammer. Hello, Rob. How you guys doing?
All right. David, before we dive into picks here, we need some resolution here because the esteemed colleague from Brownsburg, my co-host Rob Kendall.
West side, Rob. West side.
He's the kind of guy that will buy a bunch of points and then do a victory lap on social media afterwards like it was some great accomplishment. Like taking the line from 17 down to 3 and then a victory lap on social media. I said that's something needle dicks do, but I want to find out from the professional, David, your thoughts.
Hey, when you buy points, my biggest thing is I don't like to parlay, but hey, we're all suckers for a parlay. And when we buy points down, it's hard enough to hit one game, then might as well hit 2 games. But some guys just love buying points, buying parlays. Hey, I'm a sucker for it every once in a while. I do a little 2-teamer, but a victory's a victory for some people, Hammer.
I think the real story is that for some people response there. Like if you're talking parlay, okay. If you're doing a little teaser, don't tease me, bro, okay. But if it's an individual game and you buy it down a ridiculous amount, I don't think you get to do a victory lap on it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hammer. I couldn't hear your criticism for my cash register ringing. I'm sorry. What? I thought the name of the game was to win, and I won the bet.
You take your money, and then you just keep your mouth shut, right?
14 points is a lot. I hope it was definitely easy cover. I hope it was not a sweat. Those are the ones that are usually the sweats, though. The big ones, when you buy them down, those are the ones that are usually the sweats.
Here's the thing, though, Hammer. I would not have won the bet had I not bought the thing down.
Then you should have bought the other side. You should have made the other side the bet and made more money.
Oh, so when I go buy myself a nice meal from winning my bet, I'm like, I shouldn't eat this tonight because I won on a bet that I bought down. No, of course not. The goal is you play to win the game, and I won the game.
If I have to play a minus 500 money line on a parlay, then you're thinking you're already telling you the other side has a chance to win to cover the spread of the game, or why wouldn't you take the spread? That's what I always pros and cons of doing a money line. You always the other side. Well, why aren't you taking the other side? It might be you're getting free points.
If you want to do it, that's fine, but you don't get to brag. It's like taking the ugly, just fattest chick home from the bar. You're going to get a desired result, but you don't want your friends to know about it.
All right, you know what? Fine. Screw you guys. Here's the deal. It was a bet one of you made on this show, and I'm not going to out anybody. I wanted us to have some camaraderie. I didn't like the bet, but I wanted us to be able to cheer together. I didn't want to go opposite of one of you guys. And you know what? One of you lost the bet, and I got it right.
All right, David, you gave us a winner last week in the Washington and Michigan game. What do we got this week?
Okay, first off, I also gave out Michigan State, and let's talk about the field goal that the guys for Michigan State kicked off.
Himself.
Hammer knows how I feel about this. I talked about it all weekend long over text message. Come on, guys, that was bad. That's bad for football. He did that just to jive. He used to be the coach of Oregon State just to get back at Oregon. That's why he did that. Anyways, this week we're on California, Miami, guys. Everybody's seen probably by now the highlights of California, Pittsburgh. Everybody's seen the highlights of California, Miami. California blowing this 25-point lead. California now travels to Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh last weekend. They got the running backs back. Now California's driving across the country for a 3:30 game on Saturday, which is noon their time. Let me tell you something about Pittsburgh. They're doing something special. They're undefeated. They're undefeated for a reason. They haven't played the toughest competition, but they can't control who they play, who they schedule. But they have won. They went on the road to win North Carolina. Now they're coming home. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. California, let's just say they got beat by Florida State, and they scored 9 points for Florida State. They sometimes have trouble scoring. They have a sophomore quarterback who is only about 50% for the year in completion rates. I look for Pittsburgh to score often and score early. I'm going to lay the 3 points. I'm going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to lay the 3 points against California, traveling to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh gets it done. Lay the 3 points against California Bears. The two-headed running back system for Pittsburgh is dynamic. They got the transfer quarterback from Pittsburgh, from Alabama, from Pittsburgh as their quarterback. Eli Holston. He's been phenomenal. They got too much offense for California. Lay Pittsburgh minus the 3 versus the Cal Bears. That's my play of the week, guys.
David, is this an emotional letdown spot for Cal? Because they had the Hurricanes beat. It was their big game. Game day was there. National television. They're up multiple scores, and they let them off the hook.
I think California was rolling this year. They went to Auburn, beat Auburn. I mean, no matter how good Auburn is, you can't go to Auburn. They go to Auburn, then they go to Florida State, lay an egg, then they come home. They got, like you said, game day off. They got a break. They got a rest. They're up 25 points. Everybody's celebrating, doing it, and then they fall apart. Now they got to go across the country. Who knows what the weather's going to be in Pittsburgh? Could be rainy, could be sunny. It's a noon kickoff for them because the time's late. It's just a bad spot for them. Most of the sharps are going to be on Pittsburgh, so that's what we're on. Pittsburgh laying the points.
If somebody wants to hire you for your services, how can they find you?
Guys, I get free plays every single day: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We got 55. We had started Tuesdays, or last week was 55 days straight of football. We got tons of football in action. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Like I said, YouTube has my number one free play every day. I give my VIP play, baseball, football, regardless. It's free every single day on my YouTube channel. But you can get me on all platforms. Message me directly, follownerfay.com, sign up. No matter what, good luck to everybody out there this football season. Good luck this week.
Again, follow neverfade.com. David does awesome stuff. He's been killing it with the Major League Baseball playoffs as well. All right, Rob, back to you. Ole Miss is a team that you have picked a number of times this year. I know you love their quarterback, Jackson Dart. Ole Miss is at LSU, and we're seeing a lot of line movement here.
Yeah, okay. So, Hillary Clinton said it takes a village. And on this one, I'm going to need you to be my village to see what I should do here. So yesterday when we put the show together, I send you my picks. You send me yours. We get ready to put the show. The line was 2.5. Ole Miss was a 2.5-point favorite at LSU.
Road favorite. You don't see those a lot when you're dealing with LSU.
And I was 50-50 on it. I thought, you know what? I picked Jackson Dart to win the Heisman. He plays good on the road. He plays good in big games. All right, I'll stay with it. The other game I was looking at was this Penn State USC game in the over-under. Penn State at USC, which was 48.5. And I thought, man, I don't know. I went back and forth. I only get 5 games. All right, I'll stay with Jackson Dart and USC. But now the line has moved in both of these games. And in one game, it moved for me, and one game, it moved against me. And we try to be honest brokers of what the lines actually are at the time we do the show, not when we pick the games on our computers. And so the Ole Miss LSU game has moved against me down to 3.5 favorite for Ole Miss. And the Penn State USC game, the under, which I was going to take, has moved in my favor up to 50.5. So what the hell should I do here?
So I think what we need to do is play a little round of Who's Going to Screw Me? So, Rob, you've got 2 games on the slate. One's moving in your favor, one's moving against you, but the one moving against you was your first instinct.
That's right.
So, the $1 million question, Rob Kendall, who do you think is going to screw you, and what is the official play?
Oh, my gosh, Hammer. I put so much effort into making this pick. I'll just stay with it, then I'll lose, and we can laugh about it next week. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right, so here's what I was thinking. All right, look, Fat, here's the deal. Brian Kelly sucks in big games. I know. I'm a Notre Dame fan. How many times did I see it? Jackson Dart is playing for a season and possibly shot at the Heisman. And yes, Ole Miss lost that shocker to Kentucky, but they bounced back last week. LSU got beat by USC and then have played complete crap since then. So, I don't know. This could be my heart instead of my head. I know the line's moving against me, but I picked Jackson Dart to win the Heisman, so I got to stay with that. I know I'm going to look up and they're going to score 7 points in that USC-Penn State game, and I'm going to be pissed off. But I'll go with Ole Miss -3.5.
A very unenthusiastic wagon hitching to Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart right there.
Would you ever be enthusiastic about wagon hitching to Lane Kiffin?
I am keeping it in the SEC, and a team that beat me last week but has won big for me at other spots this year, the Tennessee Volunteers. This is a game that used to be like the premier game in the old SEC East. Florida at Tennessee. The Gators stink. Their coach has one foot in the grave already, and Tennessee's coming off just a gross offensive performance at Arkansas. Tennessee is a 16.5-point home favorite in Rocky Top. The over-under is set at 54.5. Listen, I think Tennessee is the better team here. And Tennessee has to get right after that gross effort last week. But, man, this is too many points in a low-key, really good rivalry game.
Yeah.
Like Florida and Tennessee, I don't think gets the credit for being a nasty, gross rivalry. These are teams that hate each other, fan bases that hate each other. It's been this way for a long time. You go back to Steve Spurrier when he was coaching the Gators. You can't spell citrus without UT. It's a low-key, really good rivalry. And even though Florida is ass, that's too many points.
Florida is ass.
Florida is ass. 16.5, though?
Yeah.
That's too many points. Give me those no-good, rotten Florida Gators catching 16.5. Tennessee wins the game, but I don't think they win by 17. I'll take the Gators and the points. All right, going to take a little time out here, and when we come back, does Rob Kendall have enough hair on his coconuts to continue the Fade Purdue?
Yeah!
We'll find out when we come back. This is the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, my name is Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall is here. And Rob, you've been able to put your future daughter through college by betting against the Purdue Boilermakers.
Yeah, as an IU grad, I hate Purdue, and I love to see them lose, and I'm so glad I can make money and see Purdue lose badly at the same time.
Last week, Purdue went up to Madison, Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin just scored again while we were having this conversation. Purdue stinks.
They just plain suck. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
But now, Rob, odds makers are starting to catch on.
Yeah.
Purdue is at Illinois. Pretty good Illinois team. 19.5. The Illini are a home favorite by nearly 20. The over-under right around 49.5.
Oh, man, the free money days of Fade Purdue are over. Now, what was that? Was it Idaho that you faded?
Idaho a couple of years ago, and then I rode the Lightning with the mean green of North Texas.
Yeah, you made a fortune. No matter how bad that line got for Idaho, you kept cashing fading Idaho. All right, so my gut says Purdue might actually cover this because there's a lot of ways to backdoor your way, losing by less than 20. But I'm 4-0 fading Purdue, and you know what the saying is, Hammer. You gotta ride the Lightning.
And you never walk away when you're on a heater.
You never walk away from the table when you're on a heater.
And Purdue's been a heater for you.
Purdue is awful. I mean, they're really awful, and here's what gives me some hope. They're really awful in the second half of just about every game I've seen. So, my theory is if Illinois can take a one-touchdown lead or more into the half, my toes are tapping. Purdue's awful. They're thin, so they get worn down. I do worry about some garbage late, but you can't walk away from winning 4 bets in a row, so I hate Purdue, and let's fade Purdue.
You never walk away from the table when you're on a heater.
You want to talk about some bad football. You want to talk about some bad football, Rob Kendall. Air Force at New Mexico.
Oh, it's not a degenerate special?
Oh, no. No, my friend.
How bad could that game be?
You just wait for the degenerate special a little bit later on. Air Force at New Mexico. New Mexico is a 6.5-point home favorite. The over-under is set at 53.5. Listen, I feel like a bad American ripping on Air Force, but they're averaging 11.4 points per game. 11.4. Now, it's not like New Mexico is the Texas Longhorns on the other side. They haven't won a home game this year, but they're averaging 32 points per game. Air Force has not covered a spread all year long, and New Mexico at least beat their rival last week on the road, and they put a 50-burger up, 50-40. I think Air Force is going to have to play 13 quarters to put 50 points up. So we are going to lay 6.5 New Mexico at home against Air Force. Rob, let's go back to the Big Ten. And again, it's bizarre that Washington is a Big Ten team. It takes a while to get used to saying Washington, UCLA, USC in the Big Ten. But the Huskies are on the road at Iowa. Iowa coming off the depancing from the Buckeyes. 2.5 is the line. The Hawkeyes are a 2.5-point home favorite. The over-under setting at 40.5.
All right, so this game feels much closer to Washington at Rutgers from a couple weeks ago than it does Washington versus Michigan. I think it's going to be close, but Iowa hung in with an excellent Ohio State team for a full half. Now, they got worn down, and they just couldn't move the ball, and Ohio State's going to score eventually. But their defense is legit, and they'll get lots of opportunities. Washington has only played one road game this year. Iowa's 2 losses were to very good teams, including 1-point loss to number 11 Iowa State. So I'll take Iowa in a nail-biter. I think they'll barely cover the 2.5.
There are certain teams that home field advantage just means the world to them. And it feels like the Hawkeyes are one of those squads, right? Like, they're not going to score a lot of points, but that defense, which is good anyway, just gets ramped up when they're at home. I like that one. All right, let's talk about Kansas State at Colorado. Prime time. Deion Sanders and the gang at home. K-State is a 4.5-point road favorite, and the over-under sitting at 56.5. Now, Colorado has hit the over in each one of their Big 12 games. This tells me Deion Sanders knows what's going on in his own conference. Get him outside of his conference, maybe not the case. But he knows what's happening with these teams that he's going to see year after year. Their defense at Colorado, it's a little bit better than what we saw at Nebraska earlier in the year, but they still stink. It's one of the worst in the Big 12. So I'm looking at this game. Kansas State just dropped 42 points over Oklahoma State. They've got the 7th best rushing attack in all of college football. They're going to run it down Colorado's throat. Bernie Sanders, if you're somebody that is banking on the Colorado defense to get any sort of stop, what are your thoughts?
I think you're dumb.
I do too, Bernie. We're going to ride the lightning, Rob. We're going over 56.5. It's a big number, but I think Colorado at home is good for maybe 24 to 27 with that offense, but that defense can't stop anybody. And K-State is going to run it down their throat at will. We're going over 56.5. All right, let's move on to Oregon State at Nevada. Oregon State is a 3.5-point road favorite at Nevada. Rob, the over-under sitting at 48.5.
Here's a weird thing, Hammer, and I know this only because I bet on them against Purdue and watched it on an antenna at my house on the crappy CW channel. Now, you've never lived until you've watched Oregon State play Purdue on rabbit ears in your bedroom.
and you thought the name of the show, Degenerates Next Door, is just some quirky little funny title. No, this is who we are. This is 100% who we are.
My wife's like, why's the picture so bad? Because it's the CW network. I didn't even know it was still there.
Quiet, woman. It's third down in a game that I got $5 on.
My wife is the best. She's always like, you having fun with your friends? Haven't seen you in 27 hours.
When Oregon State's on, you can't expect me to be a parent.
Here's the thing that I learned about Oregon State. They're not bad. And then you look at their record. Also not bad. Now, they got smoked by Oregon, who is awesome. But other than that, pretty good. Nevada, Stinksville. Oregon State committed some bad penalties and didn't play great against Colorado State, who was an awful last week. Still won. This is mostly, though, about Nevada stinking. Give me Oregon State -3.5.
Gonna take a break. When we come back, the $1 million question. Are you ready to get nuts?
Yeah!
We're gonna get nuts. We've got a Degenerate special. Don't go anywhere. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door. Man, we're having fun. Nobody has more fun betting on these games than we do. We get fired up. Sometimes we get a little intoxicated, but it's just the way that we get down. And we thank you guys for checking us out every Tuesday and every Thursday when we release these podcasts. So, Rob Kendall.
Yes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get nuts?
All right, want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts! Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts, Rob. What are we doing?
Well, I'd like to point out last week, even though I was mocked for picking Eric Cole at 33-1 in the golf, he was in it until the very end. So, I mean, he didn't cash, but, you know, at least I got you 4 days of entertainment for whatever you would have bet.
The only time in the history of sports betting has Eric Cole brought somebody 4 days of entertainment.
All right, here's the one thing that nobody's talking about right now because everybody's so engrossed in college football is college basketball. And that means you can get some great odds if you're paying attention and willing to be a little risky and willing to have a bet hanging out there for a while. And look, IU basketball was Stinksville for most of the year last year until the end. They got pretty good. They've got 4 starters back. They added a beast in the transfer portal in Omar Ballo from Arizona.
Who?
Omar Ballo. I think that's how you say his name. He's a giant. He's like a Philistine-looking guy in there. They should give him a helmet when he goes out there to play.
I did not have Philistine on my degenerate bingo card
this
today.
This is a giant, giant man. He may be the prize of the transfer portal. They got a couple of guards from the West Coast that aren't bad. Bryson Tucker's coming to IU. He's the 28th ranked recruit in the country. And they're favored or co-favored by many right now to win the Big Ten, which is way down, so they'll probably at least make the tournament. Which means, if they get in, you're a hot streak away from winning it all, and right now, you can get IU at 55-1 to win it all. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts with IU basketball at 55-1 to win it all.
All right, want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts! Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Wow. We got a Philistine reference. We got the Hoosiers hanging banner number 6. There's only one thing I can add to make this show anything close to as entertaining as that, and that's the worst game on the board, and we call it the Degenerate Special.
It's time for Hammer's Degenerate Special.
So earlier in the show, I told you Air Force at New Mexico was not the Degenerate Special, nor was it the worst game we were going to pick today. Ball State at Kent State, ladies and gentlemen. Who is ready for a little maction? Ball State, the Fighting Jason Hammers. They are 6.5-point road favorites at Kent State. Now, let's do a little tale of the tape here, shall we? Ball State is 1-4. They've lost 4 straight games. They are 11th in the Mid-American Conference. Defensively, Ball State gives up 48.2 points per game. Rob, that is good for 262nd in the NCAA. But They've got a pretty decent quarterback. Their quarterback's not bad. Meanwhile, Kent State, winless on the season. Now, to be fair, they played a brutal non-conference schedule. They went to Pitt, they went to Tennessee, and they went to Penn State. And they probably got $1 million at each one of those games. So the Kent State athletic department is funded, but they're only averaging 14.8 points per game, but it's against a hard schedule. So what do I do with this information? Here's what I know. Kent State's defense is atrocious. Ball State's is bad. I think Kent State's is worse. I think Ball State's offense is capable of putting up a decent number against Kent. I don't know who wins this game. I don't know who covers. But I think Ball State's team total of 32.5 points is good enough for me. I am going to channel the great David Letterman. This is dedicated to all the C students before and after me at Ball State University. We're going over 32.5 points for the Fighting Cardinals of Ball State.
Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet your captain, Captain Over.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Captain, your navigator, Mr. Unger, and your first officer, Mr. Dunn.
Unger, over, done.
Over 32.5 for Ball State at Kent. That's your degenerate special.
I love it.
Rob Kendall, let's recap the board.
All right, I've got Oregon and Ohio State, the game of the day. I've got it going under 52.5 points. It's a big number, but we got to keep fading Purdue. I've got Illinois laying 19.5 at home against Purdue. I got Oregon State giving 3.5 at Nevada. Iowa is a 2.5-point favorite at home against Washington. I'll lay the points. And against every fiber in my being, and I know I'm going to be pissed off the entire time, and I'm going to hate that little snot Jackson Dart. Even though the line moved, I'm going to lay the 3.5. Ole Miss at LSU. And last but certainly not least, if you'd like to get nuts, you can get IU at 55-1 to win the NCAA basketball championship.
I'm taking the Longhorns in the Red River Shootout, minus 14.5. I got the Gators with the points getting 16.5. New Mexico minus 6.5. We're going to go over Kansas State and Colorado 56.5. And the degenerate special, Ball State's team total over 32.5 points at Kent State. For Rob Kendall, for David Stephanoff of FollowNeverFade.com, I'm Jason Hammer. We will be back Thursday for the NFL edition of the Degenerates Next Door. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.